Hey guys, what's going on? I got this FS85 Stihl trimmer. Just got it in. Guy said it sat in his garage for a long time, but he wants me to get it running for him. I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. So yeah, it started when he put it away, but hasn't run in a while. So at the minimum, I think I'm going to need a carb rebuild. But before I can even look at that, there is no pull cord. So I have to, first thing I have to do is replace the pull cord, just so I can make sure there's compression, see if there's spark, all that. So I'm going to do that first. So let's set that right up. So a couple of T27 Torx. And we'll get this cover off. So we have that out of the way. A couple bugs in there. This carburetor is filthy, as you can see. And this is after I pressure washed it and cleaned it. It was worse. I'm gonna get the other two bolts off. There's it is the end of the throttle right there. It has to go back together there. Okay, let's get this pull cord assembly repaired. That all looks good. All right, so there's the pull cord, and obviously you can see it had torn free. So get the old one out. All right, there we go. Pull that old one out, and let's get some new cable. Now I'm gonna go about a foot longer than this. I can always cut it off afterwards. I don't mind being too long, just not too short. Put a little sharp tip on the end. And let's feed it back through. All right, so it's pretty hard to see, but once I align the outside hole with the inside hole, I'm gonna go straight through. I gotta take a little bit of this edge off, a little bit too long. All right, so once I get it through like that, I'm gonna use my little pick, hook it, and pull it up. And then I'm gonna use my little needle nose and pull it through. There we go. Just gonna put a small little knot in there. And then that gets shoved down into this piece like this. Okay. All right. Now, in order to wind this, well, before I do that, I got a donor handle here. Put another tip on the other end. Let's get that through. And I'm just going to put a knot right there. a little bit of extra hanging off. Okay. Yeah. Now, to reach in here and grab the line, get it pulled up this way. There we go. Now, once I get this little, you see this little notch here? I get the one end in there, and then I'm going to wind 1, 2, 3.
Ended up turning it 6 times. You don't want to go any further than that because you could break the spring.
Okay, now that I have the pull cord temporary on, I'm not even going to check compression because I know it's there. That's pretty solid in there. I do want to check for spark though, so I'm going to take this off. And at the same time, I'll look at the spark plug, which doesn't look bad. So I'm going to check for spark, and I got some good spark in there. So now I got spark, I know I have compression. I'm probably going to have to rebuild the carb. Another way you can test for spark, hold that against ground, and you can also, that's another way of testing to see if your spark plug works. So, get this air box off, and we're going to take this carb off. All right, so let's get these 8mm bolts off the carb. Set that aside. And then you got your airbox plate. And then you have your carburetor, and these fuel lines are hard as a rock. And we got the carb off. Let's take a look at the carb. Right, so this is a Zama, okay? Good carbs, obviously. Usually what I find, the diaphragm underneath the plunger is usually shot. That's why I always have some of those in stock. Careful taking that off. So that's your diaphragm, metering diaphragm. That thing, you can hear it. That should be rubber. This feels like plastic. There's also a gasket underneath, so this is 2 pieces. Splits right there. All right, so we're gonna get a new one of those. I want to take a look at the jets, obviously, inside, and I also want to take a look at the other side. This is your fuel inlet side. A little bit of dirt in there. You can see inside the fuel screen some dirt back in there. Not terribly, but enough to, you know, enough to cause an issue. Let's clean this out. Alright, so that's how we get the screen out. Spray that a few times on the back side. Make sure all these holes are open. Good. Now, put this back together. And I'm going to put some new gaskets in. I thought that gasket looked pretty good. I could be wrong, but I think it looks good. I'm going to try it without replacing that one. But I'm definitely going to replace this one. Careful with the other gasket. That thing's shot. So I'm going to get a new one. So gasket goes down first. And then the metering diaphragm. Wheel side goes down. I'm going to clean this thing off quick. Careful blowing air through any of these little holes. I think you can destroy the internal parts of it. Alright, gasket, diaphragm, and then the two shorter screws. Don't over tighten. I'm going to get a new bulb as well. Okay, new bulb, and then the longer screws.
Now on to checking the fuel lines and the fuel filter.
Get a fuel filter. Disgusting. Definitely going to have to replace that. Both fuel lines are going to need to be repulled, obviously, and a new fuel filter. Check out this nasty fuel. A lot of water in there too. All right, let's get some new fuel lines, new fuel filter, and we'll get this back together.
I cut this on an angle so it's easier to install.
All right, so I'm going with a thick fuel line, similar to the original, and that. And I'm going to put a new fuel filter on. Because the old one was shot. One more time, I'm going to blow out this carburetor, or fuel tank. Okay. So that's one. And then we get the return line. That's two. All right, let's make sure the gasket's in there. Let's make sure the throttle is connected. All right. Remember to put the end of the throttle line back on. Make sure the throttle works, okay. Then the gasket, if it's in good shape. Replace if it's not. And the throttle cover. Make sure the gasket's on the outside of that as well. Okay. Choke lever goes on the inside, the outside going up and down. And I'm gonna get some fuel. To do a little bit of fiddling, but I'm glad it starts and runs.
Here I'm going to take the primer bulb back off and take a look at the diaphragm, see what's going on, and find out why it won't prime.
All right, so it runs great. It starts, it runs. I had to do a little spray to get it in, to get it started, because I couldn't figure out why I could not get any fuel into the float bowl or into the primer bulb. So after looking back, I realized The gaskets are, the diaphragms are slightly different. See the holes? So fuel was not getting through on this one. So I need to replace this with the right one. That would be the problem, because if you see on the gasket where it lines up, it is nowhere near the right spot. So I got to get a new gasket, and then we'll get this back together. Okay, now that I have the new plunger in, oh, there we go. Now we're getting fuel through. That's what I like to see. So now, when we go to start, all right, much better. I guess got to fiddle with the pilot, the idle screw, the air screw there, and just tighten this just a little bit on the handle. Put the cover back on. I'm gonna get a new spark plug for it and call it a day. All right, guys, just to review real quick here: pull cord, fuel lines, fuel filter, new metering diaphragm, and a new plunger. And the result is starts like a champ. I'm going to replace the spark plug. I'm going to put a new air filter in it, and I'm going to call it a day and let the customer know that's all done. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.